What's up, Go enthusiasts? Welcome back to my coverage of this year's Nongshim Cup, the very famous tournament between China, Korea, and Japan held every year. It's a team tournament, and usually the team which wins is considered the strongest country that year historically. In the first game, Su Traian took victory over Seol Hunjun, Korea's first player, and he won the right to play Zhao Hao, China's first player, in the match. In that game, Su Traian played moyo versus moyo. It was pretty interesting and exciting. In this game, they played a lot of 3-3 invasions. So you see the 3-3 invasion comes right away like this. They play this Joseki, one approach to the upper left, and then black played on the bottom side. So black here is not allowing white to make any moyo on the bottom side with his influence, and white answers by saying, I wasn't going to make a moyo. It's time to go invade the 3-3. He gets Sente from that after black extends there. Black's extending, looking to build some potential area on the bottom side. Is white concerned about that? Nope, he invades the 3-3 again. So all of the 3-3s got invaded, and yeah, I mean, this is where the game starts from here. But to be honest, I'm not sure Zhao Hao is actually on his own yet, because he played the blue spot, the AI recommended spot, and I kind of think that he had seen this exact global position before with AI, and that's how he knew where to play the AI spot, because it's pretty hard to come up with it on your own. Zhao Hao played here. He played this knight's move, like 5th line on the bottom side, and it is the best move. The reason why is pretty simple, actually. The point of this game, the way that this game is heading, is that black has a massive potential area on the right side. The threat is that black is going to be securing all that. And if black could do that really expansively by playing some moves in the center around where white's move is, that would be nice, especially if it comes with an attack on white's wall in the bottom left. So what Zhao Hao is doing by playing this move on the bottom side is restricting black's movement into the center from his splitting stone, from that one stone on the 3rd line there. This means that if black wants to try to build directly, doing something, let's say like attach, white is going to be getting his own very valuable area in the bottom left, and what black gets is actually just not that big in the end. So black chooses to jump directly. He doesn't try to build, but tries to sort of thrust through this white shape, and white covers. So black got some territory benefit, but he still wants to be able to use his influence somehow, so he plays this knight's move, trying to build a bit. But white is satisfied, actually. White is totally happy to allow this, and the reason why is that black is not threatening that whole area that he was threatening before. It's already just been naturally reduced to something which is very handleable. I mean, this is an amount which you can allow your opponent to get. So white is not going to have any hangups. He's not going to be too concerned about doing anything on the right side right away. He goes to the upper left corner and plays a kick and pincer. Black needs to run. He needs to save those 2 stones. The way that he runs is pretty clever here. He's getting some extra strength with a lot of pressure on white on the left side. And the reason why that's good is that white has still a problem in the upper left corner that he has to handle. So white actually completely plays away here from this situation on the left side and defends the top side. The reason why is that if he would have played some expansive thing, this is looking to build some area in the bottom left, then black has this attachment, which is always pretty annoying if you can't really harass or try to kill these 2 stones. So in this case, white doesn't have enough strength to kill those 2 stones. White can only like bully them a little bit, something like this. This is very annoying for white because locally the corner is not alive yet, and also the black group isn't really surroundable yet. This fight is just like really hard to play. So usually in those situations, if you don't have any extra strength here, you have to just back off like this. And that gives black all sorts of methods to make chaos in the corner. I mean, for example, black could play Hane and Peep. This means there's a cut here that can be really annoying. And finally, this white is usually going to just end up being dead. So similar things can happen. That's not the only variation. the point is that that attach across when the 3/4 kicks and plays a knight's move, it's a big weakness for Wei. It's something that Wei has to handle. And so when Wei jumps on the 4th line here, he's handling that. He's making sure that if that original sequence would happen, he could Hane, and he could the Hane is a tiger's mouth in that case, and he could properly capture any black harassment against his corner. And he tried to do it in the way that has the most center movement potential. So he's trying to do it in a way that allows him to access this right center area of the board later. But for now, Xu Traian can just take care of his group on the left side. Wait, make sure to save his attacking stone, and he plays away to the upper right now because his 2 stones are already connected to his wall, and black shows that he actually exchanges these things. And to be honest, this was good for black to get to exchange these things. The weight shape here, which was kind of looking to go into the center and keep some pressure on this black, it looks much more flat now. I can't really imagine White getting very much territory on this area or on the side. The good news for White is that he's strong everywhere. He's not going to get much territory, but it's definitely not going to be any problem to get 2 eyes. So the game basically goes on, and by playing in the upper right corner, Zhao Hao is trying to say, okay, yeah, I don't have much territory there, but you also won't get much territory on the right side. And black is like, yeah, the right side itself, he can't really block. Wei has 2 rats in to break the side territory, so time to go for the center. And immediately Xu Traian has this center moyo, somewhat similar to the way that the first game turned out. I like this shoulder hit. I think this is a really cool move, really expansive, and you can see the pressure that he's putting on Zhao Hao in this position where it looked like he really didn't have anywhere to go. Well, yeah, Zhao Hao immediately plays this peep, and the common response is not to answer to this these days. And the way that this exchange works, White can later cut and get some attacking potential on both the right side and the top side. But he wouldn't want to do that now. For now, he's just going to completely play away, do some other thing. If he would do that too early, then the cutting stones will become something that White is sort of obligated to pay attention to. It would be bad for them to die. And then if he has to save a group here, then black will get a natural attack, and black will be able to build some territory from that attack. Basically, White doesn't want this peeping stone to be heavy, so he doesn't want to cut. And then if White is planning to sacrifice this peeping stone, then black wants to make sure that his stones are in the most efficient positions as White gives up that stone. So black's not answering here, is thinking, hey, I know that you actually don't care about that peeping stone already, so why don't I put my stones in valuable positions and argue that I'm getting something as you just put a stone there that you're eventually going to let die. And so it becomes this back and forth of how useful will this peeping stone really be? How much do you really need to save it? Usually, the way that this works is that White is going to sort of hint at saving the peeping stone, and black is going to cover. Or if black doesn't cover, then black will eventually fix the cut. Usually you don't see White getting a lot of strength and then also getting to cut and then start attacking things. So the fight will show what I'm talking about in the game. For now, White plays this move on the left side, which black answers by playing this probing move first. I think this is a good question to ask White about exactly how he plans to connect up on the left side, and White just connects up in the most basic way. There is no chance to play a more aggressive move like this. This would not be working because black could play the Hane one time and then could play wedge, where black is intending to make a co-shape. So like this, and here White could capture that one stone, but black gets this Atari and Sente. And the point is, this way black managed to kind of fix his weakness, his cutting point, on the outside in Sente. What White got on the side, although White got super strong, White was already strong, so it doesn't really gain anything for White. That's why White just backed off like this, trying to keep the pressure that he can make some cut in the center. And black tried to protect that cut really expansively like this. So he's still caring a lot about the center area, white has no chance to cut because he has his own liberty issues on the side that's going to allow white, it's going to allow black to just live on the side if he would ever cut. So it's time to play away, and Jarrah plays here. His move is just floating in the middle of everything. And the reason why Jarrah can play like this is because he's asking about that peeping stone again. He's saying, hey, black, if you want to play, to capture that peeping stone, go right ahead, be my guest. And black says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go add value on the top side, which is a very reasonable thing to do, actually, because when white continues to look after that peeping stone, he doesn't have any way to directly link up and start attacking anything. Even if he would save that right away, he still doesn't have any immediately powerful attack. So black is sort of free to attack this however he wants. He tries to play this attachment. You can tell that Sutrayan is a somewhat comfortable moyo player. This is the kind of move which you play when you have a massive amount of influence and you just need to get paid for it. White currently has a big lead on strict territory, but black needs to be able to attack this to make some of that back. And this is how you start to do that. This means, well, white did not answer. However, white would try to answer here. Black is going to try to restrict it and make some kind of powerful cut. And in general, fighting against this white group in black's area of extreme thickness should work out pretty well for black. That's why white doesn't really want to directly fight, but wants to trade things away. If white can save any little thing here, he'll be doing just fine. So what he does is he attaches to the side, running to the side to get a little bit more use out of the black weaknesses nearby. And black chooses to try to keep this peeping stone properly dead. So he extended up, making that peep, and then he extends up again, covers like this. White can make this Atari. In this sequence, black managed to swallow that peeping stone naturally and take a bunch of territory, but the area isn't very big. And white got quite a bit of thickness towards the bottom side, so the center area moyo is pretty much gone in return for black getting this top side little bit of territory. The variation is about even. Both players are still doing relatively well in the game. When white plays here, black has a very natural move to peep, force white to answer like this, and black should continue to try to attack this group to build some area on the bottom side. If he gets a lot while this white group sort of saves itself without doing anything, then actually black could be doing well in this game. So he plays here, and he's trying to outline the biggest area that he can. If white continues to run to the left side, black is going to be leading, but white actually finds the one and only best move on the board. Feel free to pause the video and try to spot it. Personally, I could never. I have no idea how to find this kind of move. White played here. So it's a elephant jump away from his nearest stone, sort of a two-space jump. And I don't know how to call it, but this shape of sort of crossing elephant jumps does occur with relative frequency. The meaning of this move is that he's running to the bottom side. So if he would have just run directly to the left, however, when black takes that spot, this area is actually really big. It's a lot of area for the number of stones that black has invested, and white is not satisfied. So by doing this, he's like looking to break into that area. But then how come, like, what gives him the right? Doesn't this move look so far, so thin? Can't black cut it off somehow, some way? Well, black just sort of intimidates the cut in the game. He plays like this, allowing white to connect back. White does so with this wedge and Atari. So this connects solidly, and white can continue to just come in and reduce. The reason why this is a solid connection, if black would ever cut, then white could Atari from this side, and of course it's a connect and die. So that was a slightly more efficient way for white to connect than just with the diagonal. But I mean, come back here. Why did black have to let white just connect to this stone and start reducing? So why couldn't black cut? Well, black could cut actually, and white could play this Hane. White doesn't have any ladder, he doesn't have anything direct, so he should prevent black's Atari there, make an eye. And black can save that one stone. He can save it this way, he can save it this way. However, he could even play from this side, and so to sort of subtly save that stone. Um, this is playable, this is possible, but this is Jer Hao's specialty. This is his favorite kind of game, where um, white has Aji. Nothing directly, clearly, obviously works, but it's not obvious that it works for black either, meaning it's not clear that these three stones are exactly dead and that white can't find some way to counterattack with this peep, with the weakness of those stones, with an attach across here. There's all sorts of resources which white has. And Jara Hao would have made it black's problem in this kind of position. He wouldn't be thinking, oh man, I have to save this group or I'm going to lose the game. He'd be thinking, if I get anything happening here, and let's say cut happens immediately, then I can push through directly. And then I can push through again. And I'm going to make it double problem where I'm going to either cut or attach from this. If anything happens in a good way for white in this area, it's going to be good for Jia Hao. And so Xu Traian, he actually was doing a relatively conservative and reasonable form of attacking by just forcing white to properly connect through and not giving white the opportunity to make any of those very dangerous positions for black, where black had committed already to killing something or getting too much in a way that was probably just not going to work for black in the end. So the game went on. The game continued relatively normally, where white just continued to reduce the bottom side. He's still relatively safe with this group, although he doesn't have two eyes. He has plenty of directions to run. Black plays a really interesting move. He breaks the bamboo right away. I love breaking the bamboo. Great job, great job. But the reason why this is interesting is that it is working because of the weaknesses that white has with his running shape. And so white actually kind of has to attach to this side or somehow protect himself. He couldn't play here. There would just be an immediate wedge. And white would have to connect and black could cut and take the whole bottom side. This is not like the other variation. This is black taking the bottom side relatively clearly while white is sort of struggling to run. So white instead attaches here, fixing his weaknesses. It's very reasonable. And black could continue by playing a Hane on the outside, something like this, but it's very dangerous because now white has fixed his own weaknesses and has the time to go back and try to build eyes while reducing the bottom side territory. Black would rather take the bottom side territory and allow this white group to be safe. So white just runs through like this, and black continues to attack, keeping some pressure on chances to cut this white group, and white fixes his cuts by playing here, making sure black couldn't play a forcing move and wedge or anything like that. Now the original weakness is still covered in the way that I showed earlier, and this whole white group is connected out. So the attack basically ended, and at the end of the day, black got a good amount of bottom side territory pretty cleanly, and white didn't really get anything special other than just saving himself. And black got some territory here. But also, you know, the whole big imposing moyo that black had at the beginning is gone now. So it was pretty even. It was good for both players from here. Maybe you could say that white is like a little better because he broke a lot. But peep here, when white answers, black actually is looking to get a little bit on the left center as well. So I think it's basically an even game. Black pushed here. It was just a really big move, a lot of territory, whoever would get to play that move first, and white played this peep. So once again, we get a peep, which is sort of iffy, whether you want to answer it or not. In this case, it's best to answer. Professionals only like playing peeps if it's iffy to answer, by the way. Usually if the peep would obviously be correct to answer, that means the peep is a bad move, because your opponent's move is definitely good, then how can you possibly be gaining? This peep, it's correct to answer in this case because although black stones there are just not that valuable, it has allowed black to be quite strong towards the left center of the board, which is going to allow him to support those original 3 stones a lot better than if he hadn't done that. And so when white continues to run here, he breaks a lot of the left center territory, and he starts an attack on those black stones. Black can kind of counterattack, and he doesn't have to care too much about directly saving them and playing on defense. Originally, he plays this sort of forcing move towards the white left side. White says, hey, that's not really forcing. Starts a big counterattack of his own. And black plays this attach and extend. At this point, white can't really easily connect and try to kill the center. This would be nice, like I'm killing the center, but black is going to immediately cut here, and it makes two threats now. So if white lives on the left side, which he could do, then black would be able to try to capture on the bottom side, and vice versa if white lives the side there. So connecting here was called for, but it gives black the timing to cut. And now we get a really interesting game. So it's going to be some kind of capture race and like running fight between the white group and the black group. And white gets the first move after playing this forcing move. He chooses to play this very solid table shape. It seems like black is kind of doomed, kind of. But actually black has some resources here and can turn this around. He plays first this forcing move, which is correct. This forcing move is going to help him stay connected to his originally 4 stones, now 5 stones here, with his relatively strong rest of the black group. And using that, he's going to try to launch a real counterattack on the white 5 stones in the center. So he plays this push, white clamps and really pins black down, and black pushes through, and white cuts. So we get the most aggressive fight for both players, and we're directly in the capture race now. It's a really, really intense moment. Black can decide where to play first. Of course, he should make sure to save his 2 stones from a net, otherwise it wouldn't be a capture race. But he plays this move first. He exchanges this first, and then he saves them. That move is Sente. If white would net those 2 stones, then black could capture these 2 stones and be satisfied with his result to, walk all the way in and save his stones. So why did he exchange this first? Just a random wedge? Actually, he did that in order to try to reduce white's liberties. But it backfired. It was a really clever exchange to go for. It was too clever. And actually it gave Zhao a chance now. He plays this peep and then the jump. After this jump, black plays his own clever move, Tanuki to the upper left corner, and white ignores it and captures the 3 stones. Okay, what the heck just happened? I mean, this is crazy. At the end of the day, black gets the push through in the upper left. White just ignored his mostly forcing move there. And why did black get to do that? It's because white managed to capture these 3 stones and therefore capture the rest of the black stones. And this originally was black's moyo, but all this is white's territory. So in fact, white is winning. The game is basically over from this moment, even though black totally busted through the top side and has potential to make his own territory and attack the corner and all that. White capturing the entire center as he's defending his weak group is just way too much. So how did it happen? Let's go back. Let's take a look at this in more detail. Originally, it came down to the fact that black exchanged this wedge first and then saved his 2 stones. What happens if he saves his 2 stones first? Well, the reason why he didn't do this, why he wedged first, is that white is actually going to play that move immediately himself. It's forcing for the cut, kind of. It would be forcing if white had liberties. White doesn't have many liberties. Black is going to play here, squeezing this white shape. White needs to win the liberty race against the black center most of all, so he should connect. Playing a solid connection is often very good for your liberties. And from here, black can play like this. White can't cut through. He doesn't have enough liberties, and it's going to be a direct capture race. White plays first. Feel free to pause the video and see if you can figure out who wins this capture race. It seems like, although white plays first, black has 4 outside liberties and white has 3. So it seems like black should win. But in fact, white is going to win. Because on the inside here, it's a sort of different inside than most capture races that you see. Black has only 1 inside liberty, but white has 2, because there's this potential eye. So although it looked here like on outside liberties, white was not going to be able to win. In fact, if you just count liberties straightly, which is how they would get taken, it's 5-5 and white plays first. Black has 5 liberties, takes away 1, or white takes away 1, and white also has 5 liberties. So if we run all the way down here, you can see at this moment, the inside liberties tell the tale. Black has to fill 1 and white could capture. So this result, Black thought this can't be good. How can I let them just capture my stones in the center? But actually, this is what he was supposed to go for. This would have been better than the game by a lot because Black gets this very nice squeeze. He doesn't give up his own 3 stones on the outside. The game is still close, even, which I found pretty unbelievable. saw AI's judgment of that the first time. I mean, how can that game be close? But apparently the game was close. Okay. In the game, Zhu Traian, he read that all perfectly, and he said, that can't be good, so let me wedge first, and let me prevent white from playing that original move to connect the stones and get so many liberties to be able to capture the black inside. And then when he saved, then white managed to make this jump. So why couldn't white have jumped without black making this exchange, you might ask. It's a good question. The jump means that if black tries to seal this in, white is going to play here. And what white is thinking about here is actually the chance to make 2 eyes in the side. So if black would cut in the center like this, white could play this move and here, and white is alive. So actually, the black group just naturally dies on the inside, and once again, it's going to be great for white. That means, in this position, because black played this wedge, he's obligated to come back again at this point and connect or play ko, something like this. But it's not going to work because white can connect here. And if black wants to try to cut this off, white has this Atari and can hane. And this is going to work for white to connect out to his other stones. So at this moment, if black cuts, white can cut like this, saving his stones. And if black instead connects, white can connect. If black pushes through like this, white can Atari and connect, and it's all going to work. However, this would be different from here if black had exchanged here. If this is exchanged, then white actually cannot connect out. Black now can wedge, which is a crazy move. Really nice resource that Zhu Traian tried to use here. But in the end, white didn't have to answer. So if it would have actually happened, if white would have answered and we would have gotten this, then when white plays this Atari, this double Atari, it looks like it's just going to be great. It's going to work. But black can save here. And actually this capture and that cut are miai. If white connects here, black can connect. This white has to liberty race the black, and it's in much worse condition than before, actually. And if white captures, then black can cut, and same thing, where white is actually going to have a really hard time in this liberty race. So that's why, after this jump, black played here. He thought if white answers, then that will allow me to seal this white in and try to capture race it, and that's why white then switched back. So finally, we got this trade. The problem is, this trade was way too good for white. So Zhu Traian, yeah, the problem for him was that he had missed at the start that Zhao Hao could play that jumping move after he plays that wedge. And if black doesn't push through and give white the chance to make 2 eyes, but just backs off like this, then the jump, the other meaning of the jump is that it just gives white a lot of liberties. So white can exchange that. And then just by connecting there, actually white is going to win the liberty race if he goes like this. So here you can see, because white made an eye from that wedge, black is forced to fill the inside liberty himself if he wants to win the race, but he doesn't have. He just is 1 liberty too short due to white's jump expanding his liberties to the open area. Okay, a really intense and great fight by Zhao Hao here, punishing that wedge from Zhu Traian. I mean, it's hard to say that it's a strong, like, What Xu Chaoyan did here that was wrong is literally just that he didn't want to accept that he was cleanly dead in the center. He didn't want to accept getting squeezed. He made some much more complicated thing, and he allowed Zhao to find the very complicated way to win the game. After this has happened, although his black is getting a lot here, Zhao is just going to save himself on the top side. Actually, he could continue to save the corner, but he chooses to switch to the other side, which makes things a bit more complicated for him, and he doesn't really continue to play this Liberty race as intensely as possible. He just allows black to take the entire upper left corner, but white is still fine. He gives himself a potential connection to the center, a potential connection to the corner. Although black gained a lot of territory in the upper left, it still isn't enough to match what white got in the center. And so the game continues. Zhao actually plays pretty softly in general throughout this. He isn't playing all the absolute most sharp and most intense moves anymore because he knows that he has already won the game in the center of the board. Yeah, finally Zhao just makes sure that he's very solidly alive on the left, reduces territory a bit, plays this move, and Xu Chaoyan is losing by about 10 points and resigns the game. So this was a really cool game because they were playing this moyo and they played this attack that was pretty even the whole way through, all the way up until white made this big escalation in the center. And this fight where white has captured that black group already, but it's super unclear. Zhao managed to find the way to make his shapes beautiful. And Xu Chaoyan made one hasty wedge. It's good for the Liberty race. It's bad for white's life, white's eyes. And Zhao won the game. It was a really nice game. First game from Zhao in the Nongshim Cup. He wins the right to play Korea's second player, Byung-Sen Gil. I look forward to covering that game with you next. Make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.